Hundreds of NDC supporters poured out onto the streets of Accra Tuesday, demanding immediate implementation of the Emil Short Commission of Inquiry report, payment of compensation to victims of brutality meted out by security agencies, and investigations that will lead to the prosecution of culprits. The petition was presented to the presidency as part of a 4-hour protest walk from the Accra Mall to Parliament, with a brief stop at Jubilee House, where the first petition was presented. The demonstration follows the killing of 2 protesters at a Jura in the Ashanti region, an incident that is currently being probed by a ministerial committee. There's more in this report.
It was a call to action as leaders of the National Democratic Congress took turns listing why they believe supporters gathered in protest, as well as all other Ghanaians, should speak up. From economic hardships to police and military brutality, they called for change.
Demonstration no there yabaya nemo yababa home by enunti sanitizers nipa binu wo mu a sanitizers yekuta no smart obi a wuni no smart no bia no wo be wo mu a wo be nya bia se yasra mo selfie no so eya mo ma mo tete mo ntam e kakra na frama fa mo ntam na mo nya selfie no sade baya yaba boy home by if you say ye can't say na kufu anu say yesu kura ye jai him yesu atudro kura ye nomta na se ye trase na covid nunti wo munkunkum ye makoma kwa abomba nunti miku dam aja covid no mebu ana enunti so better demonstration baba so oma inu monyo only the vigilante for no free soldier mo only the vigilante for free police mo na on yourself nipa ya kuku bo mu no nyina no nipa adi sawu no ya be pa omo hontoma ni ade wo mo afamra kwan so na wo mo awira busiafo no wo mo so no ya be kwase ba compensate wo.
Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Samuel George, alleged a meeting had been held by government to unleash military personnel into the demonstration.
We had an arrangement with the IGP of police on the routes we are using. The rules of this country say that crowd control is the job of the police. In fact, part of this demonstration is because military men were using crowd control and they shot and killed unarmed Ghanaians. Yet some people in government had a meeting last night and decided that despite the presence of the police, they intend to bring in the military to beat us halfway.
But as the walk began, it was obvious the police was in charge, with a heavy presence as they marched alongside the protesters. From the Accra Mall, the thick crowd marched through the Opebia Junction, Defence Ministry, Lands Commission, and finally got to the Jubilee House, where a human wall had been formed by police officers with others seated on horses. The petition was presented, but first, the contents were read out loud by the National Youth Organizer, George Opariado.
Petition to President Akufo-Addo by the National Youth Wing of the National Democratic Congress. The framers of the 1992 Constitution were spot on when they made provisions in Clause 1 of Article 1 that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of government are to be exercised in the manner and within the limits laid down in this Constitution. In the strict adherence to the meaning of this provision, Your Excellency, you took the presidential oath on 7 January 2027, when you were first, 2017, when you were first elected President of the Republic. Although our party, the NDC, contested the general elections, which was subsequently decided in your favor by the Supreme Court of our Republic, you took the same oath on January 7, 2021, to serve another 4-year term. The presidential oath, as we know it, was not and cannot be fanciful words said for purposes of formality. Despite the polarized nature of our country, Ghanaians who voted for you, and indeed those who voted for your opponents, succumbed to your constitutional arrangements and entrusted their will and aspirations in your hands. The hopes of every Ghanaian, including your political adversaries, was to see you uphold the tenets of our Constitution. sustain the peace you inherited from your predecessor, improve upon the economic well-being of Ghanaians.
Here is a response from the man who received the petition on behalf of President Akufo-Addo. He is Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman.
It is indeed a right that you have exercised rightly, and we also have to complement it in order to build the democracy that this country is noted for. It is not during the tenure of Nana Akufo-Addo that will undermine the rights that have been guaranteed in the Constitution. And for this reason, I have been asked to come and receive the petition so that what should be done officially shall be done for the benefits of all of us in this republic called Ghana.
From the Jubilee House, the protesters continued the march to Parliament House. Here, it was a battle for the gate to be opened as the protesters pushed and shoved. It took the party's General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketiah's call to order to gradually clear up the entrance. Finally, the second petition was handed over. It was received by both the majority and minority leaders.
Speaker of Parliament has had to respond to an invitation by his colleague in Nigeria, and that is why you are not seeing him here. The Speaker is not by any means avoiding the demonstrators. He's had to respond to a call from his counterpart in Nigeria. That's why he's not here. There's a reason why the minority leader and I are here to receive your petition for and on behalf of the institution, and indeed because it was addressed to the Speaker, we are receiving it for and on behalf of the Speaker.
Our assurance to you is that Parliament will not fail the people of Ghana in demanding that right be done, and right be done to safeguard the peace and stability of our country, right be done to safeguard the stability of our country, and right be done to safeguard our democracy. Essentially, the bestiality of unruly behavior of the security agencies is not acceptable anywhere. We will look into it, probe into it, where it requires that we rid the security agencies of those concerns raised. Parliament will not hesitate in doing that. Understand that the demonstration has generally been peaceful. That is how it should be. Freedom of expression is important, and freedom to demonstrate is important in a democracy for the expression of legitimate grievances.
That was how the protest ended. But as people dispersed to their homes, they were reminded by the party chairman Samuel Ofosu Ampofo that this demonstration will not be the party's last until the issues raised have been duly addressed, key among which is ending police and military brutality and ensuring that culprits are not left off the hook. Gifty Andropia, Joy News, Accra.
Now, Parliament has deferred to Wednesday a decision on what to do with the NDC's petition to the Speaker for leadership to deliberate further on it. Majority Leader Osei Mensa Bonsu and Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu had proposed a petition be referred to the Defence and Interior as well as Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committees for deliberation and report back to the House. But first, Deputy Speaker Joseph Wusu says more deliberations need to be done first.
May I suggest that we defer any referral today and discuss it at the leadership meeting tomorrow thoroughly before making a pronouncement. Right. Thank you.
Osei Mensa Bonsu defended the NDC supporters' right to demonstrate.
The Speaker, we must live up to these happenings. We must also admit that they are not happenings relating to today. They happened yesterday and they happened the day before yesterday. Whatever it is not good enough. And Speaker, I'm happy that today we've seen this demonstration. That the demonstration itself was peaceful and that the demonstrators were protected by the same police, the same security agencies is commendable. Mr. Speaker, and the demonstrators came to Parliament to present their petition. That it happened means that democracy is working in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't mean that our democracy is perfect, and we must correct the processes and procedures to ensure that we straighten up our living within the remit of democratic rule. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the two of us received the petition on behalf of the Speaker, and we want to believe that the necessary processes will be triggered to ensure appropriate inquiry and investigation into the circumstances of the matters that have been referred to by the petition. Mr. Speaker, I do not want us to be selective. If we are selective about these things, we cannot achieve the purpose of investigating to protect life. Mr. Speaker, I believe that whatever has happened, if it happened yesterday, if it happened the day before yesterday, if the matter is referred to the appropriate parliamentary committee, they should be given the authority to inquire into these matters whenever they happened, so that we'll be able to straighten the course of our democracy.
Harry Idrisu on his part commended the protesters for what he described as a very peaceful demonstration that achieved the intended objective.
I do not, Mr. Speaker, intend to prejudice any work that Parliament will do under your guidance. Suffice it to add that the demonstration, I understand, was very peaceful. It drew attention to growing hardship in the country, but with particular emphasis on infractions of excesses of men in uniform, the security agencies, the police, and the Ghana Armed Forces engaged in some unacceptable bestiality of unruly behavior. Mr. Speaker, this Parliament, I believe, will hold the police and the Ghana Armed Forces accountable as is required of us. Parliament remains a guardian of the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens. We have a duty to preserve and protect our Constitution. We have a duty to safeguard our democracy, and we have a responsibility to ensure that Ghana remains a peaceful, stable country. We cannot achieve that if freedom of expression remains on attack, civil liberties are disrespected, and no punishment is meted out.